Is the moon landing fake? Is the moon landing fake? Is that what we're talking about here? How one Russian-born congresswoman is having a bigger impact than other establishment politicians. To the center, they throw balls, and in the very last second, boom, connects, knocks Justin out. It was just... Hello again. Welcome back to the podcast summary report. This is episode 4, and we're going to review 4 videos. So let's get to it. Video number 1, the Joe Rogan Experience, episode 2141 with Bart Sibrel. This is a very interesting one. I'm going to leave it at that. Episode number 2, Flagrant, with Andrew Schultz, Akash Singh. This one is Trump Assassination Conspiracy, Israel versus Iran, rap beefs. They don't number their episodes, so this one's interesting. Joe Rogan Experience is 3 hours and 8 minutes. This Flagrant is 2 hours and 3 minutes. Then the third video is going to be PBD Podcast, episode 403, with Representative Victoria Spartz. This is an hour and 48 minutes with 38 seconds. And the last one is another Joe Rogan, but this is MMA, episode 155 with Max Holloway, the BMF. It's going to be 2 hours and 38 minutes with 28 seconds. All right, so strap on, let's go. We're going to start with Joe Rogan Experience video, episode 2141 with Bart Sibrel. All right. What can I say about this one? This is, for those who do not know, Bart Sibrel is the number one person that believes when I say the number one person, he's a journalist that has done a lot of years and a lot of content investigation about the moon landing, and he believes that it is fake. So he has done, I don't even want to say it because it's you get so much hate if you say that the moon landing is fake. So welcome to Bart Sibrel's life. But this story is just crazy. So one of my timestamps is about his story and how he got to this particular point. Then everything that just conspires in this video, it is hilarious. It is, well, I don't want to say hilarious, but it's just crazy because Joe Rogan, if I could get something out of this video, this key takeaway is I believe he believes that the moon landing might have been fake. But he doesn't admit it. So he's actually steelmanning Bart's conversation. Bart's his theories and conspiracies and everything. Bart is just having that discussion. And what's interesting to me is, all right, so I thought he was going. Bart thought maybe Joe Rogan was going to be a ally, which overall I think Joe Rogan does believe that maybe arriving to the moon was fake because of all the videos and pictures and everything that is online. But Joe, having this platform and position, wants to really have a conversation with Bart and steelman his thoughts, his ideas, his research, right? And Bart felt a little bit even uncomfortable at certain moments. Why are you doing this? But it was a great conversation between both of them. They talk about a lot of different things. They talk about UFOs. They talk about NASA. They talk about the moon landings. They talk about the video of faking halfway to the moon when it was 130,000 miles away. They talked about the Van Allen radiation belts and why this is one of the biggest reasons why the moon landing is fake. Because imagine this: you have the Earth. Then a sphere of low radiation, which is what they travel into space, where the Russian space station resides and all the satellites. And then you have a big round belts of radiation, extreme radiation, that even there's some certain scientists that say that we haven't been able to solve this problem to pass this radiation belts. And then you got no radiation, and then you have the moon. So these Van Allen radiation belts haven't been solved currently. And one individual, I missed his name, but talks about that for us to colonize the moon, or revisit the moon, we have to solve that mystery. And Bart was saying, all right, so if we haven't solved it now in 2014 or 2024 or 2020, 2019, 2024, then you're telling me we solved it over 60 years ago? Come on, that does not make sense. So this one is quite the. It's just, what can I say? Is the moon landing fake? Is the moon landing fake? Is that what we're talking about here? And Bart just really goes into the agencies, goes into the government, goes into CIA and how they lie, goes into, it's just our current past 60 years of history, and he believes that a lot of things have been not truthful throughout the years, and he's saying that this one, if this one is fake, could be the start of just understanding how far can a government go to try and just persuade us and brainwash us. So it's a great conversation with Bart Sibrel, Joe Rogan, and just how, well, one of the biggest victories for the United States of America, and if there's a possibility that it could be fake, the moon landing. So I honestly, I don't even want to recommend it to you. I want to push you to go watch this episode. This is a crazy one. Just let me tell you, the last 3 or 4 Joe Rogan episodes have been out of the world with Tucker Carlson, with Bart Sibrel. It's just the debate that he had with an archaeologist and his good friend, slips the name, but it's just Joe Rogan is taking it to the next level, right? And the last thing he said to Bart was like, "Hey, are you willing to come back and have somebody else debate you about this topic? Are you willing to have that conversation?" And Bart's like, "Yeah, I'm all for it. I've never really had anyone that wanted to debate me, but I'm here. Let's do it." So to be continued. Episode 2141 was crazy. Please click on it. I recommend it to you. It is off the chain. All right. So video number 2, podcast, Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz and company, Akash and his other 2 companions. This was a funny one. They start right off with the bat of Trump's conspiracy if he's going to get killed by flying a Boeing. Hilarious. Guys, the main message on this one is, I love those 4 guys. They're just sitting there having hilarious conversations. They go into the abortion topic. This is always a really, really hot topic, abortion. But Alabama as well, where they're trying to implement a law that they had in 1817, if I'm not mistaken. 1817, something like that. I get the number wrong. But it was just like how they are talking about that it's going to be completely illegal, and then how is this swing state, and now Republicans are trying to flip back and forth. Is just a crazy discussion. But then they go into, I love how they said, "Oh, we solved abortion. All right, let's go back to 15 weeks. No, wait. 2 weeks. No, wait. 10 weeks. No, wait." So they just go full circle. They first started in 15 weeks, then they go back to 10 weeks, which is 70 days. Then they go back to 12 weeks. Oh, you know what? But we're kind of procrastinators, and they go full circle to those 15 weeks. So it was hilarious. It's just I laughed a couple of times when they were having that conversation, and just the topic is a hot red topic, but it's hilarious. And then they go into other conversations about the Trump trial and if you're going to vote for him or not. And then there's even divisions amongst them, but just as funny. But how it's just the witch hunt in New York continues its full path on the Trump case. It's funny. Then the next topic is the rap beef, and I don't follow this too much. The rap beef between Drake, between Ross or Ryan Ross or something like that. And this just, I honestly got lost a little bit. I listened to it, but I got distracted. I'm not saying it's not a funny topic. It is. They talk about how AI is even part of the conversation. How they did the Drake song, and Kendrick Lamar is also part of the diss between Drake. It's just it was a almost like a 30 to 40 minute conversation. I honestly, but it's not my cup of tea, so it's good. I listened to it, but I got distracted. So if you like it, click on it. I got the timestamp, but if you don't, you can actually either listen to it or skip it. Up to you. And then finally, they jump into the Israel and Iran conflict, war, whatever you want to call it. How Iran did it first because Israel attacked the consulate, the embassy in Damascus, and then but Iran was really funny. Hey, we're gonna send these rockets. We're gonna send them over here. These are how many we're gonna send. All these are almost the flight patterns, and then 99.9% of all those rockets got intercepted, but only a few of them got damaged. But they just talk about this, they kind of laugh about it, and then it's just crazy. And then what's going to be Israel's response? Is there going to be a response? We should tone down the temperature, and it's just they're bringing some humor, so I like that. Last thing is they talked about the UFC 300, how crazy it was, and it's just you can see how good friends having a good conversation, talking about some hot topics, just trying to keep the conversation going, have fun. The rap beefs and stuff. I liked it. I recommend it to you. It's fun. You can. It's not too long. It's 2 hours. You can skip certain sections. You'll enjoy it. That's video number 2, Flagrant. Very well. Video number 3. This is a good one. This is PBD podcast episode 403. I've done already 2 PBD podcasts pretty quickly, right? But this is with Representative Victoria Spartz. An hour and 48 minutes with 38 seconds. So now, I didn't know who Victoria was. I didn't know she was a Republican or a Democrat. She's a Republican representative congresswoman, and she was born in old Russia, like they say it, in the USSR, which is now Ukraine. So you can realize that this conversation got very interesting because she talked about her story. She talked about how she lived in that USSR. PVD Patrick discussed how he lived in Iran. They're only 12 days apart, PVD and Victoria. So they both share their stories. And they got into the conversation of how Victoria is really trying to fight. We can call it the good fight, continuing to fight for America, for the Republic of America. She is seeing from the her point of view how we have been just falling into many Marxism ideologies, ideas, and just that direction. And she really wants to fight. But in her story, she also talks about how difficult this journey is. How you have to be crazy to be a politician. How she's crazy, but she wants to do it because she comes from a country that they don't have those types of freedoms. That it's very difficult to even have a voice in those types of countries. And Ukraine, she loves Ukraine. She loves the people of Ukraine. She feels for them. She is like, a lot of people are dying on a pointless war, but she is like, she doesn't have good words for Zelensky or Putin or Putin. So it's like, it's a crazy conversation because you get to see her point of view. You get to see how she has history in that conflict, and even was asked by PVD because she wasn't on board for this last bill of $95 billion for Ukraine, Israel, and some other things, which was part of the border bill, and how $60 million are going to go to Ukraine. It's just a crazy amount. She's against that war. It is. I went into some of the comments, and it's quite interesting. Or people are saying, "Wow, I would never imagine a Russian heritage or Ukrainian heritage representative cares more about America." There's some Americans, right? Now we can't generalize. I believe. I hope all Americans love America, but it's just crazy how our times have been so mixed and so convoluted. So this podcast just has followed the Tulsi Gabbard podcast, so you can see how Patrick's views and right wing views, right? But he's just trying to really have a voice, have these types of guests to speak, and just how to try and open the eyes of a lot of Americans. It is just it's a crazy environment that we're living right now. I've said it already 2 times, but how one Russian-born congresswoman is having a bigger impact than other establishment politicians. She talks about that. She talks about the deep-rooted DC politicians that don't even represent their districts, that live in Washington and they just fill their pockets with money because they either get grants or get money for their personal companies or for their friend companies. It's just this is quite a podcast to unpack. So honestly, I have all the good timestamps for your benefit. Fighting the Republic, who are politicians, the history of Putin, corruption in Ukraine, and the Bidens. Oh my goodness! And then George Soros. They talked about George Soros as well, because there's been stories, the news articles right now, that George Soros is funding 15 million, 17 million, almost 20 million dollars to universities for pro-Palestinian demonstrations and protests. It is just how it is some educational unrest, and how possible civil unrest, and how there's could be a black swan event before our elections. And just I can just tell you that the last 6 months are going to be crazy, and we have to keep calm. We cannot panic. We have to go and cast our votes, either for the left or for the right, but you have to go be calm and cast your votes. That's all I can tell you. That's the main message. And this was a good episode. This was a crazy one. And my respects to this representative, Victoria Spartz. It was honestly, I like this episode. So like I done in the previous 2, I recommend you this one, but this one is a good one. So all right, finally, the last one, JRE MMA Show, episode 155 with Max Holloway, the baddest mother plucker of the world, right? I don't want to say it, but you know what it is. The BMF right now champion, Max Holloway. And this is a MMA episode, right? So people that don't follow MMA, usually if you listen to Rogan, you know he's a big MMA junkie, does jiu-jitsu, does everything like that. I actually love MMA. I've been practicing jiu-jitsu for the past 5 years, and it's because of Joe Rogan and a lot of what he says. But you cannot love Max Holloway. You can just see him here. He's kind of relaxed. This is after his fight. This is after UFC 300, one of the biggest knockouts on the history of UFC. Max just calls Justin to the center, Justin Gaethje to the center. They throw balls, and in the very last second, boom, connects, knocks Justin out. It was just, I actually saw it live in a bar. It was fantastic. It was a oh shit moment by Dana White. He sells oh shit moments, and it was like awesome. So this podcast talks about his preparation, talks about other fighters like Bulk, how he was on the top, and how a couple of losses can just put oh, he's washed up, and how actually that happened to Max, because Max lost a couple of times to Volk, and that was difficult for him, and people was just writing him off, and how they wrote him off for this particular fight for Justin, and how Justin was going to overpower him and everything. And just Max, how he was cool, and he took his 12 weeks of preparation to the max, no pun intended. and was able to well prepare for this fight, counter what Justin was had in plan for him, and it was just able to execute it masterfully. And even at the very end, where the fight was already won because he was winning easily 4 rounds against 1, that just he called him in the center of the ring, and they just threw blows. And what can I tell you? The history was made. UFC 300, the biggest knockout in UFC history in a long, long time. This was, what can I say? This was an awesome fight, but this was a great podcast. If you do not like MMA, you don't have to listen to it. You can skip it. But if you, how can you not love? I already said, how can you not love Max Holloway? This was a great show. You can see him here, very calm, very relaxed, just talking to Joe about his options. What is next to be? Volk, Duporia, just even I don't know. It's just the sky's the limit for Max right now. He is the most talked about fighter right now. He even said how people didn't. Well, he would get recognized, but now everyone wants to take a picture with him. He's the BMF. What can I say? So great episode, great conversation. MMA episode 155 with Joe Rogan. Watch it if you like this content, but if not, skip and go to the next one. All right, people, thank you so much. Have a great day. Episode 4 on wraps, and we'll see you for episode number 5. Have a good one.